All right, let's go ahead and get the sound check out of the way. Let me know if you can hear me across the various chats, that being YouTube, Twitch, and X.com. Not running any private streams today, so for those that cannot get into the public streams, I do apologize because of your location. You're going to hear that after the fact, so my bad. I just could not get those VPN streams up, so let me know if you can hear me in those public chats though, and we're going to get started in under a minute here. All right, so it seems as though you can hear me okay. We're going to get the music under control and get rolling here. It's probably going to come down quicker than I want it to, but my apologies. All right. Let's jump right into it. Hello and welcome to Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is March 8th, 2024. Landy is still sick. I do apologize for my voice and any coughing that might ensue from talking, but we're going to stare at this picture real quick. This is an amazing piece by an amazing artist. It's Viola Miss Code. I believe I'm saying that right on Twitter. And Landy now owns this. This is called Fuck the Fed, and it is pretty awesome. I do particularly enjoy some of the things that she included in this piece, such as go back to your alt chain and buy BTC free Ross, and that would be Ross Ulbricht. All right, let's get into Bitcoin. That's going to be incorporated. That particular piece is going to be incorporated into some of the Crypto Landy stuff going forward. That is a piece that I am not going to ever sell, so please don't ask. It is, in my opinion, priceless. So we're looking at Bitcoin here on very low term timeframes because Bitcoin did make a new all-time high yet again. So the previous all-time high was just above $69,000, which was the all-time high back in November of 2021. And we saw, I believe it was, what was it? Back here, 69,324. And Bitcoin did head to one of our very first upside targets that we had been talking about, and that's $70,000. On this wick here, it did come in around 70,200. Big rejection, and then back down to around 66,160. Man, that's a beautiful run of the short side positions there and the sellers, and then a run right back down. So one of the reasons why I'm bringing up the 15-minute really quickly here to start is because of the volume that came in on the high, but also on this low here. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of the all-time high zone for a moment, and we're going to take a look at some volume-based stuff just to start out with here. And you'll have to let me know. Yes, you can right-click and save the JPEG, but whatever. I don't really care. I actually have it inscribed on the blockchain, so it's going to live on forever under my wallet and not your computer. So yeah, anyway, but yeah, right click away if you'd like to have that piece on your desktop there. You can actually go to ordinals.com, and I believe you can get the full 2000 by 2000 resolution picture if you like. It is pretty awesome, and probably incredibly expensive to inscribe on chain. But we're going to take a look at the volume here. Volume on the high, That's this bar here, and then we've got volume on the low. This is going to be the primary thing that I'm going to be watching on the lower term time frames, because that's probably going to define our range over the weekend here. We have already seen the traditional market close. We're in post market right now. So you've got most of the actual buys for the ETFs are already processed or in process. So you got coins moving. There was a lot of if anybody does follow whale alerts, you probably noticed just before market open in New York. Actually, it was would have been last night. So it was about 4 to 6 hours before market open. There was a ton of buys coming from Binance. Now, I do suspect that this is APs finding people to go buy the coins off of Binance, transfer to Coinbase, or transfer to OTC for Coinbase, and then they're OTCing them into the AP's hands for the ETF and those institutional wallets. So we might actually see some of that stuff move on chain into those institutional wallets soon. And the ETFs are really, they are hoovering up just weeks and months worth of Bitcoin just prior to the halving here. So, some of the upside stuff that we've talked about in the past is very realistic. I am still looking in realistic areas to the upside. Obviously, to start with, our first target area is somewhere between 70,000 and 75,000. If we do see Bitcoin trade above this high here at 70,200, I would still kind of be splitting the difference between 70 and 75. Somewhere around 72,500 to 73 is a logical area to be looking. We've run some fibs on this already. We have already discussed some of the Bollinger Band stuff, and we'll take a look at that again today as well. And then if it does get above 75, that's where I look at things as like really accelerating towards 80. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but any closes above 75 on the daily and higher term timeframes, I do think are going to push price to 80 pretty quickly. But for right now, we're probably going to be stuck in a little bit of a range. So if you do see any closes above this nice volume block here at the wick or the swing high, and you can take this as a volume block because, the entire candle is filled with that volume, but most of that volume came in on that high. And one of the main reasons that we're going to be looking at this lower term time frame is because I'm going to start getting you into the very low term time frame charts. So we are going to mark the higher volume high and low here, and we're going to go down to the minute chart real quick because we can dissect where the most volume came in. And you can see that, most of that volume was buying pressure into that selling pressure, right? And then we got the reversal up here. And you can see that the bottom side of that candle is where we saw a lot of spring back here. So we saw sells down into that 67,300. And then subsequently, we saw on this candle here. So we can actually, let's see, this would be your 15-minute. There is a couple candles in between those that are marked. So you can see where the high volume came in on this minute candle right here, kind of defining this low. It did get swung, and then you saw a bounce off of it right here. So this higher volume area right here kind of holding price up as it drifted back north. So you can deconstruct this stuff. So you don't necessarily need a platform, an order book platform, to figure this stuff out. It is perfectly reasonable to be looking at lower term timeframes on a regular price action chart without even seeing, inside the candles for the orders there. But if you do subscribe to any of the order book stuff that is deconstructing some of the volume within the candles and the specific areas within them, you can really tailor trades down to some of those swing areas. Not something that you need to do, though. Some of those get very expensive. There are some free ones, but they only have limited resources. If you want to see Coinbase or any of the other ones, you're probably not going to be able to see it. And I would suggest that you pay attention to spot over derivatives, because derivatives have a lot of leverage built up on the highs and the lows, you're going to see very different volume patterns there than you would see on spot. And spot is king. Spot is what is pushing price higher and higher and higher. It is simply a supply and demand dynamic. We can go even lower to something like a 30-second here, and or even the 5-second or 1 second. If we go down to like the 1 second, for instance, and we really scroll back here, it's going to take a little while. But you can see all of the big volume bars. For some of you may not have premium on TradingView, but if you really want to like really dig into this, you can find the exact spot. Now, of course, this is going to take a little while to actually scroll back there, but we can see that some of the volume areas that were coming into some of these zones on even the second chart, and then the drift down into the actual low of that candle was down here. So that was just the start of the candle. This was the low of the candle. So you could see exactly where in the low of that candle that is marked there on the 15-minute where that volume came in. And it came in slightly above. So I'm wondering where did it poke at that again? We'd have to really scroll over. So it's probably worth looking at something a little bit higher term time frame, like a 5-second. Like we can really degen this stuff and really get down to it. And one of the main reasons that I'm pointing this out is because it is going to be a little bit more helpful when Bitcoin is in a blue sky breakout to really identify like where are the spots of support and resistance in terms of volume or orders. Because you're just with volume and using horizontal support and resistance and spotting the price point on the chart is telling you at which price there is demand on the order book. So, and to the upside, supply. So on the 5-second chart, you can see that we had a nice block of candles here that is kind of defining the zone. So we've got this candle here was the high volume candle, and then we've got this little bit here. And unfortunately, I was doing stuff that I was being a little silly and a little tongue-in-cheek last night because I was out of it. But you can see how this volume bar here for demand, when it was hit, did start to reverse price. So, it did get swung down a bit lower here, but then we saw, a nice bit of volume continue to come in. It trailed off, but we saw no real closes below the wick lows here. Once this higher volume candle was recovered right here, we saw price drift higher and then retest. And that was this higher volume candle right here. And then it comes up, we did have a bit of buying and selling pressure in here. So we found some supply up here and really tried to push through it. It did drift a little bit further as well shortly thereafter. Coming back down, we saw a little bit of a sell on the high. So right where we saw this wick reject, when price drifted higher, then you found some more supply up in this area, came back down, and then higher loaded its way onto eventually the 69,000 and then a run for that 70,200 area. Now, this is just a little bit of a preview of some of the things that we're going to be talking about, but we've got a pretty well-defined range to be working with here. So we'll go back to the 15-minute for just a moment. And, on the bottom side, pretty easy to understand. Any 15-minute hourly closure is below 66,160 and slightly above it. Just basically, you might as well just mark the close open of the candles here after looking at that chart. So you're looking at basically 66,472 to 66,157. That's going to be the primary area to watch to the downside. 15-minute closures outside of that zone that lead to hourly closures outside of that zone probably mean that price is going to come down and test, the wicks over here. There's a nice consolidation here around 65,850 or so to that wick down there at 64,700. So a little bit of a larger range because price is getting more volatile on the longer term time frames, but that's generally where I'd be looking. We have a nice compression coming in here on the 15-minute. So if it does start to close below the lower second, I would start to step things down into the upper to mid $67,000 area, and then eventually the upper $66,000 area to watch if we do start to see expansion below the current lower second standard deviation at 68,200 or so. That loses this wick low, and that wick low is coming in at 68,050 bucks. So basically, you start seeing it trade down below and close down below 68,000. Then we're looking mid to upper 67s, all the way down in $1,000 range to upper $66,000 range. And that's to be expected. We're going to see widening ranges when it comes to Bitcoin's price action, and quite frankly, that's going to lead to very, very volatile price movements when you're trying to scalp, for those of you that like to scalp. So you do have to be very, very careful, because as volatility increases on those higher term timeframes, particularly the monthly, 2-month, quarterly, and stuff like that, that just means that, price can move very, very quickly on these lower term timeframes. So if you're trying to scalp to hedge, or you're trying to scalp to long, you can get taken out by a wick really easy, and then price just continues on in the direction that you were hoping it would. So in particular with blue sky breakouts, I saw a lot of people get wrecked on the way up in 2020. Please don't forget to put in a stop loss. And if it gets hit, just reevaluate the trade. A lot of times we were seeing it go in the desired direction even after getting hit. It was just tapping liquidity, because as supply restricts, there's not a lot on the order books for price to hit. So you might get it, we've got a bigger block on the downside. Somebody fills a short order, and it's got to go hit the bid. So same on the other side for, lift the offer or hit the asks, if you like. Somebody's got a lot of that they want to buy, but there's not a ton of supply, so it just starts ripping through the upside of the order books. In particular, you'll see this occur with a lot of exchanges that have lower liquidity. Yes, the engines that they're running, the order book engines that they're running, are much better than they were even in 2020 now, but you'll still see illiquid zones or pockets within that order book that price just rips right through when you get somebody that, maybe fat fingers market instead of limit in, or maybe purposely markets instead of limiting to actually get those bids or asks filled. So just keep that in mind. If we do see any closures above that 70,200, we're looking, I would just, for Bitcoin, you might want to take it just a little bit at a time. Like I said, that zone at around 70 to 75 is what I've been calling for, and I would not be surprised if it landed somewhere in the middle, like some of our targets here that we've discussed in the now public Discord. So if you do want to join the Landy's Crypto Corner Discord, the link is in the video description down below. That is an invite link. You do need to verify. So there's a verification bot when you join the server. Please go verify with that, and we'll assign you the role of pleb. And you're going to be stuck in that role. OGs are the ones that were originally in the server, and just have that to preserve our previous chats, of which, I'm sorry, I do not want other people to see, because it's friendly banter between friends. And the plebs, we will continue on in those chats. The other stuff is really just historical. And for those that have been hanging out with me for 2.5 years plus, from when this was just private streams that were locked down on YouTube and other various platforms that we were streaming on, just so that we could BS together as friends. But with a lot of encouragement, Landy did open it up to the public. You'll never find anybody, anybody that says, "Hey, I'm representing LCC, me, pay me for this indicator or something," or any of that. I don't sell courses. I don't sell indicators. I don't sell anything. So please understand, this information is free. The Discord is free. Do not join any telegrams. I found a telegram that was me trying to sell fake courses and stuff. There's only one Landy. It's at Crypto Landy on Twitter. And then you can find me at Landy. I think it's 6917 because why not, for the memes, on Discord. I think that's me, but just go look in the server. You can see my username. It's Landy. on Discord. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the daily here. Let's get rid of volume. We don't need volume anymore. We can always deconstruct volume on the fly if we need to, if we see something interesting on one of these other time frames. But Bitcoin looks beautiful. Upside availability, trading and closing candles above the upper first standard deviation. For those of you that watched yesterday's staring at charts video, you'll note that the upper first standard deviation is at $65,000. That's going to move up after today's close. If Bitcoin closes anywhere above $65,000, of course. And the upper second is above the prior all-time high area at the November 2021 highs there at $69,000. So Bitcoin did trade above there, of course, towards the upper second, landing at around that 70,200. It could even push by end of day, we don't know, to that upper second. Of course, if it fulfills some of the criteria that I just talked about in the lower term timeframes, it definitely will. That is coming in at 71,300. If it pushes past it, that's where I would be looking at around the 72 and a half range. Because Bitcoin is in a cool down phase on BWP because it is consolidating sideways above that upper first, which does preserve the opportunity for it to hit that upper second as it continues to expand. So close over close, you're going to see this upper second continue to rise. You're going to see the upper first continue to rise. And the basis down here, which is in a very powerful position, just below this spike low after putting in the first all-time high run there at just above $69,000. So we do have the basis coming in at the March 2021 monthly close. That was the first all-time high close before the reaccumulation into the Wyckoff reaccumulation, hitting the spring and then heading up and putting in this higher monthly close at 61,350 before putting in that $69,000 all-time high. All right, this is very strong. Things are cooking. I know there's people looking for like just hellacious pullbacks from here of like 20% and more. Is it possible? Sure, anything's possible. Zero is possible as well. I mean, but I would not be calling for anything like that unless I saw Bitcoin moving below the lower first and starting to push that lower second. Now, that's a pretty big drawdown as it is, and it would still be bullish AF, as the kids say. Just to give you an idea, we can get rid of support and resistance here to make the chart a little bit cleaner for this. But, let's say just hypothetically, and I want you to understand this is hypothetical. This is not technical analysis. This is addressing what I'm seeing across crypto Twitter, crypto X, and crypto YouTube. A 20% drawdown puts things at $56,000. That's bullish still. That's around the basis band. A 25% drawdown, still bullish. Puts Bitcoin right at the lower first, right around this consolidation retest of that, $50,800 to $53,000. I think that was the April weekly swing high before Bitcoin came down and before putting in the all-time high at 69K. That was an important area. Bitcoin paused there right at that weekly swing high. That's almost 25% drawdown. That's right around where the lower first would be, and that's the bullish bounce from the perspective of that's your bullish bounce zone from the perspective of Bollinger Band volatility levels, which is coming in at 52K, going to rise probably somewhere around 53 or higher. And the lower second, this is a hellacious dump off if we were to see it. This would be back down to $46,000. That would still be the daily lower second. Closes below there would be a problem for Bitcoin. And quite honestly, any closes below this higher low structure right here at 50,500 are going to be a bit of a problem, because if it doesn't bounce on divergence and then take out its current wick high at just over $70,000, then you might see a downtrending structure form. But that's not my first take on things. So just understand that that this is more of theoretical stuff. For right now, Bitcoin is in such a bullish position that I would say that it would be unlikely to be looking for this scenario, but it is worth playing around with numbers, seeing where they fall on our volatility levels of the Bollinger Bands here. So let's see. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2-day, which is closing with today's daily. You can see that the basis band on the 2-day is now right at the breakout area. That's $53,000. That is that weekly swing high up there. Let's take a look at our monthly weekly swing chart. So this is just beautiful how this is lining up. If you missed yesterday's recorded video, this was one of my talking points on the 2-day, because it is closing with today's price action. That $53,000, it was a September. I don't know why I was saying April is up here. That's the all-time high. So it was the September weekly 2021 weekly swing high at 53. That was the swing high, or the wick, or the shadow, or whatever you want to call it. Then we had the actual close open structure there from August and December that was holding price up. We now see the basis above that area. That's bullish AF, as they say. We've got the upper first at 61,350 at the monthly here. So as long as Bitcoin is trading above the upper first and basis, this is up and to the right. Again, a drawdown to 53. Well, it would be incredibly hellacious in terms of a dump off of like 24-25%. This is what high volatility on the higher term, when volatility picks up on those higher term timeframes, this is where you really get that those more extreme moves. And this is where you can get wiped out in those lower term timeframes. So you're probably going to have to start stepping back a bit and looking at your trades as possible swings with invalidations that maybe aren't quite as tight as they used to be when Bitcoin was ranging around in smaller, less volatile ranges on those higher term timeframes, because this thing can still come back to 53 and it's bullish. So, and that's just a brutal dump off, right? But nothing wrong with it from the volatility standpoint. Is it my first take on price action from here? No, the upper first is at 61,350. If Bitcoin were to head towards that area, it's a logical area. It's a monthly zone. 2 closes, the all-time high closes, nothing bad there. And then we've got, of course, any closes above the upper second standard deviation are going to start to give us further upside targets. Now, we are going to see what's called a replacement as Bitcoin expands on the 2-day. We see that BBWP is redlining right now, but it is above the moving average still. So, we have the upper second that has past price action. That's going to continue on, probably to the wick highs and higher, somewhere around 71 to 72,500. So logical upside targets. Again, above there, we're going to see the upper third continue on. This is right now at 77,500, likely to continue on into like 79.80 after today's close. So make sure you take a look at it. If you do want access to the Landy bands, they are free. They're in the link in the video description. They have all kinds of fun stuff built in. You can play around with it. Please read the directions. I get a lot of questions about it, but if you read the directions, I do explain what certain indicators are. But simply, I use the Bollinger Bands for the volatility levels. If you want to turn on EMAs, I do suggest that you turn off the Bollinger Bands so your chart isn't a complete mess. You can turn on and off any of the EMAs. You can switch them to SMAs. You can configure the length. There's labels. There's all kinds of fun stuff. There's even you can even customize the BBWP box down there that I have built into the indicator. All that good stuff. There's a super trend built in here, yada, yada, yada. So you can find that in the link in the video description. It's free, and you can add it to your indicator set if you like, so that you can take a look at this later today as well after close. And, as long as Bitcoin is trading above that upper first, though, I'm looking up and to the right. I'm not looking for large drawdowns. Although if they come, I think they're going to be welcome opportunities. Again, the title of the video, this is alpha. This is not financial advice, as the kiddos say. All right. The 3-day, we're looking at the upper second being closed above pretty soon over the weekend. So this is something to watch for Saturday, is if Bitcoin can close above around $67,000, we will see continued expansion of BBWP in the context of closing above the upper second standard deviation, which would be continuation of Bollinger Band expansion, and just giving us further upside targets. We got the upper third up there at 75,700. Bitcoin, being this volatile could throw wicks up there. Again, that's where we're getting our 70 to 75 area as a primary target initially. That doesn't mean that I think that Bitcoin's going to top there and it's going to come back down and then never make it again. No, this is taking it one step at a time. So 70 to 75, we've hit our $70,000 target. Split the difference. We're going to see a lot of Bollinger Bands start expanding into around 72 to 73. So you could split the difference there at 72.5. You're going to have to play volatility levels as Bitcoin gets going. This is why I've been prepping all of you through the bear market into the bull run of 2023. Yes, that was a bull run, and the bull market was officially on after 31.8 was broken. So, but there was always overhead resistance. In blue sky breakouts, you need to understand what volatility is doing on the higher term timeframes to really understand some of the potential for upside and downside as areas of interest as it relates to volatility. And volatility is part of the key trend, support and resistance, and volatility. And we're going to lose the resistance part of support and resistance on the higher term time frame pretty soon here. So we'll have to move to lower term time frame support and resistance. But still, trend, support and resistance, volatility create momentum. Those four key pieces are how you can really get into trading. So, all right. I do want you to note on the 3-day, beautiful compression still, man. What a beautiful, man. We called this out for those of you that traded this compression on the 3-day and to the expansion at the monthlies there at 47. If you're in swing position still, like myself, I took a couple swings in those areas off the bounce off the lower second. So I was even lower in like the low 40,000s, 38.5 area. Man, give me another dip at 20 to 25%. I'd love to get some more on those swings and then open up some new ones. I'm all for it. Bring it on, please. Stall the actual bull run, the actual blue sky breakout for a little while for me. I made a lot. I'd like to make a lot more. Thank you. Let's see. We've got 75,700. We already talked about that. The 4 days closing today. Now look, what does Crown call this? Well, he calls something else Jesus toast, but every time I see what looks like an evening star reversal setup, which on the 4-day it's going to paint like that, but it's so bullish, and there's the halving coming up. Could it turn around? Yeah, it's only on closes below 59,224 on the 4-day that really are concerning, but then you've got the upper first right there, likely to even move up a little bit more, but it's coming in at 56. We're looking at 56.5 to 6. That's probably going to move up to somewhere around $57,000, and that would be my first place to look. Again, below there, we're looking in that weekly zone, 53 to 50,800. Basis is quickly coming up to the consolidation there. It's working its way up. I expect it to be a little bit more vertical on this next close open at the end of today's daily. That's coming in at 48,200. So beautiful, beautiful stuff. Bitcoin well above the upper second. So even the volatility and support and resistance area, it's going to be local for right now. So I wouldn't be really concerned about anything in the intermediate term for the 4-day until we start seeing 4 days close below $65,000. Otherwise, it's up and to the right. So that is my take on that. 5-day, we're looking at closing coming into we've got Saturday, Sunday. Is it going to close with the weekly? Yeah, we're gonna close the 5-day and weekly in the same candle here. Well above the upper second standard deviation. Beautiful test into it. We talked about this in last week. We're using the upper second as support currently. This is likely to move up into the monthly swing high, all-time high swing zone rather here. And upper first is likely to start really accelerating up towards this monthly zone. It's likely going to be below, even on the close on the weekly. So it's closing with the weekly candle. It's going to be pretty easy to read on Sunday's closure. We've got the upper first there at $55,000. That's a big area. That was our short-term time frame consolidation that we were looking at when we were calling for 55, and then very quickly thereafter moving up to 58 to 61,350. Well, we got that. that there is a shorter term, lower term time frame consolidation at around 55 to 57. And but I am looking at this, this is going to be moving up, provided Bitcoin doesn't head towards it before the Sunday closure. Now, the only way that I even be looking at that as a possibility is if Bitcoin loses 65 and the 5-day upper second here at 63,500, which is, the local range. The local consolidation range that Bitcoin keeps pushing up into, down to that 62, 832, a little bit of a dump off there. If it starts trading back below there, then we're really looking at that 61,350 to 58.8 below there. Then we start looking at that upper first. I think the weekly is probably going to be a little bit more viable. Upper second standard deviation is right there at 61,350, right on the freaking close. I love it. I love the confluence. It's just so perfect, even with the upper first being at the breakout at 53, not 63, 53 for the upper first. Basis band working its way up towards those monthly close areas at 45.5 to 47. And, Bitcoin's just taking one level at a time and then racing to the next one. And pretty soon it's going to be all blue skies ahead. And then we're looking to this, monthly zone up on the top side here as being primary. Looks awesome. And just so you know, this is up and to the right. When you're looking at BBWP, this chart here on the weekly, this is telling you that expansion of price volatility in the context of the Bollinger Bands is up and to the right. And even if the upper second standard deviation, when it begins to pass price action here, let's get rid of the support and resistance areas on our chart here real quick, clean it up a bit here. But same as what we're seeing on the daily where price gets, the bands start running past price because of the daily consolidation. Whenever we see, the upper second, catch up to the opens and then start being right on top of current trading price, you're going to see this then quickly outrun price at any kind of a weekly pause. And then that's going to make wherever that starts to expand to the primary overhead target. You can see the upper third standard deviation continuing to get pushed here. And of course, that upper third is just above $70,000. So that is where we're getting some of those numbers from. So. All right. Cool. I think that just about does it. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few other things here. We've got the hourly. Let's look at the compression to expansion here on the hourly. We're getting expanded volatility in this range because of that spike up. We saw a nice compression here. Nope, that's not what I want, but that is a helpful panel. There's a data panel that you can put on now. That's pretty cool. It gives you all of your metrics for your indicators. In the data panel, it's just above the hot list panel. It's not exactly what I wanted. It's in your object tree. It's the next window over, sorry. So if you go into your object tree and you want to get a readout of all of your actual metrics here this doesn't show the metrics for the BA reverse stoke panel. But for the Landy bands, it does because I've defined the levels in the code. And then, of course, for the price action itself, it does. But you can get all of the levels, of course, that you could see on the price scale here. But that's the data window next to the object tree. Let's go ahead and look at, we had this 1 hour area where I said, basically expansion up and then expansion down. This is all closing base. This was for those of you that were already in the Discord server. I had pointed this out on the hourly. Very simple setup. Closes above the upper second. We're expanding up and likely to go run the all-time high I had mentioned. We saw that. And then in the next hourly candle, we saw it spike all the way down to my zone here on the hourly at 65,500 and lower, but it didn't close down there. So this was very bullish on the wick up. So then prices marched its way back up to fill out some of the volume on this wick or shadow, if you like, for those of you that are old school. But yeah, I mean, it actually followed my arrow. How nice. That was a pretty awesome setup. So if you did have take profits up there above the highs in some of the areas that we'd previously talked about on some of the live streams, which is, 70,000 to 75 or so. And you would have gotten those in. And even on lower term timeframes, if you were quick on the 15-minute, you could have got in on this wick and rode it right back up as well for another nice trade. Looks great. We are in an expansive posture right now on the hourly. We're going to get rid of this this hourly here. We don't need this. This is pretty much done for that particular setup. And then we'll come back to a few other setups here on like the 4-hour. But, from the hourly perspective, understand that as long as Bitcoin is trading above the basis here, it's in the strong half of the bands, more likely to keep testing, $69,000 to $70,000 again and higher. If it does start to lose that area, and in particular this close open, there is a lot of volume down here to this lower first that it could hang on to in terms of demand. 67,255 to the closing structure of this consolidation, around 66,855. So those are numbers that we had already previously mentioned on some of the other time frames and the really low term time frames, right? So this consolidation here below there, I would start to target this lower second standard deviation on the hourly. This is going to quickly, keep rising though. So it's probably going to be around this consolidation if Bitcoin is in the strong half of the bands above the basis. But I would be looking somewhere around this high side structure that got ran on the wicks here, coming in at 66,500. Start getting below there, then we're looking to $65,000 area. And remember, that's all in the context of this being in the all-time high zone as well. So that's all right here in this zone of the all-time high swings or wicks. So that's still, there's opportunity there. And the reason I bring that up is because if we start looking at something like the 4-hour, you're going to see what I had mentioned are the opportunity zones. Any closes above the upper first are going to see slight expansion, right? We did not see any close above. No, we did. Hey, but we didn't see it above the all-time high wick, the prior all-time high wick now at 69,324. So if we do see any closes above there, you're looking to the upper second and the 70,200 area. So basically 70K. And above, you're looking to some of the stuff we had just talked about, 72.5, 75, yada, yada, yada. But this actually has, a little bit of me joking around with you guys, but also being somewhat semi-serious here. And that is that I put out this chart here that we kind of have, we've got a 618 stuck in there too, or a 618, a fib. Would say, well, fibs have 618s in them. But we've got this kind of opportunity risk zone stuff going on here. We don't need this. We can say goodbye to that. And we've got pretty much some risk versus opportunity. And I'm going to explain this because I did get some questions about it. Like, hey, I saw you post that chart. What are you really talking about? Well, this was all related to the Bollinger Bands. At the time that I put this chart together, the upper second standard deviation was right here at the wick high at 69,324 or 224 or whatever. And then, of course, we've got safe opportunity zones. We're between the lower first and lower third here. That's pretty much safe opportunity if price starts to get there. But if it starts to break below, then we're looking at the lows, the wick lows, primarily here. And this is risky opportunity, meaning that, if price starts to close below the 4-hour closing lows here and lose any of these wicks inside of this opportunity zone, it's higher risk that it could run down back to 58.8. And again, 58.8 is a monthly closing zone. That's all down in that monthly closing zone between 58.8 and 61,350. Below there, wrecked your position, not Bitcoin. That's where we're looking at those wider pullbacks of maybe 20% to 25% or more. But Bitcoin still being in a very bullish position. Now closes above this wick high. Again, we haven't seen it. That can also get expansion on the 4-hour, which is now at the current wick high at around 70,000, 70,200. Then we're looking for the moon. I'm only half kidding there. I'd still be looking somewhere in the mid to low $70,000 region and then come back to it. If it does get above 75, then I'm looking in the upper $70,000 to $80,000 region, right? So that's a little explanation for that. Now, what's the possibilities on that? When looking at BBWP, it's starting to turn back up. We are in weekend trading territory here, so who knows? Maybe they want to pump it up over the weekend. But in this case, we need to see BBWP above the moving average get a positive slope, while Bitcoin maintains the strong half of the Bollinger Bands here above the basis, which is coming in at 66,542 currently. Now, if Bitcoin is going to reverse down, I would be looking at these, if it starts to get expansion down below the lower second standard deviation, say it runs all the way down, starts, closing below 63 at the lower second, then we're looking at the monthly zone at 61 to 61,350. We'll do some overlap and hurt your eyeballs real quick, but you can see that this is all overlapped with the October 2021. This is not safe opportunity for trades. This is actually risk opportunity because if it does lose 58.8 at the monthly lows, closing area low of that zone at 58.8, then we are looking further down. So if you're setting stops below this wick over here, you're probably out of position at that point. If you're trying to long in that zone, not financial advice again. If you're trying to short up here, you're going to get wrecked. I'm sorry. Be very, very careful if you're short on the highs. That's just not prudent right now in this kind of environment. Wait for structure, wait for trend to shift on the lower term timeframes, and for that to lead into the higher term timeframes, and play your trend and support breakdowns and get in and out. It's just like in the bear market, if you're taking longs, counter trend trade longs, you get in and out, right? You're taking your scalp, you're taking your profit out. If it ran a little bit further, fine. You could just take the other side of the trade, which was the short, and get for continuation to the downside in the bear market. In this case, you are going to be in and out of shorts. If you're hedging, I still would be very, very careful if you're not experienced in doing so. Let's stop burning your eyeballs for a moment here with the chart colors and all that overlap going on there. But yeah, I would just be very, very, very careful on the short side again. Bull markets tend to get very, very violent, and just like bear markets, but they're very, very violent and to the extent in lower term timeframes because of the supply restriction. You're getting thinner and thinner order books, and people using their Bitcoin to send to exchanges and then lever up. But that's not we're not even in that portion yet where there's more liquidity there, but thinner liquidity on the spot side. We're not even really starting that stage yet. For those of you that follow the CoinGlass, man, it's gonna bug me now. This is what happens when you get sick. You get brain fog. But I'll talk about it more on Monday during the live stream. But for fundamental analysis, man, it's gonna bug me. No, I gotta go look now. Crypto Quant, thank you. If you're following the creator of Crypto Quant, you're gonna see that he's putting out some freaking bomb alpha on the fundamental side of things. And that is that right now we're not even really seeing people, we are seeing some inflows to exchanges to go and lever up massively, but not that much. So just understand that we haven't even seen the really volatile stuff begin yet. That's pretty much going to do it for today, guys. I do apologize. I know that people are asking for alts in the chat there. I just don't have it in me right now as I'm not feeling great. If you do hang out here and, in my corner, Landy's Crypto Corner, which, yes, for those of you that know and are from the cave, which was Crown's Crypto Cave, this is purely a play on the cave, which is Landy's Crypto Corner. It's my little corner where I get to, say my piece. And I do miss the bear market, specifically the 2017 into 2018 bear market Crown's Crypto Cave live streams, man, they were lit. Especially because it was like he basically started that from nothing and really just got it rolling. What a beautiful, beautiful story that is. Got a lot of love for Crown and the crew over there, including the developers. So, anyway, that was a lot of fun. And we'll continue to have a lot of fun here on Landy's Crypto Corner as well. For those of you that do hang out, I will do alt stuff soon. Right now, I'm solely focused on Bitcoin. And if you want any kind of alts, we're going to be talking about shitcoin stuff on Bitcoin at the particular moment, because that's what's going to become hot really soon. Yes, alts are going to pop off left and right. You've got your AIs, you've got your other layer 2s that are going to start moving again. You've got your really low cap coins that are going to start ripping to the upside with just amazing gains anytime Bitcoin takes a pause. But again, you're going to see them get absolutely destroyed when Bitcoin heads down in any kind of violent fashion. So, I do want to actually not be in a brain fog when I'm analyzing alts for you guys. So do give me until Monday, and maybe after I get done with the bulk of analysis, we can go ahead and take a look at some requests for altcoins. And, we're fairly small right now, but if this group does grow in size, I will have to try to limit you to just, 1 or 2 alt requests. Or get your requests in with me on socials or something like, hey, next stream, can you look at this one for me? Don't forget. Sure. Yeah, I will try to do so. And I want to make sure that I'm giving you the straight burner alpha on that stuff. We can analyze alts really quickly like we used to do, where it's just like boom, boom, boom. Here's what I would expect, and here's my personal thoughts on it. Here's momentum, here's volatility. Here's your levels that you should be paying attention to. If you find confluence with those, then go. Or if you want me to do in-depth, you're just going to have to let me know what you would want from me in that regard when looking at alts. But for right now, today's going to be Bitcoin only. I'm not even going to look at traditional markets. I don't care. I've got trades on in traditional markets, so I'm not unaware of what's going on in traditional markets or in commodities or Dixie. But Bitcoin's our baby right now. So we want to watch this, and it's going to be the driving factor behind all of the movements that we're going to see in crypto. If it heads down and starts to really, hold support, you're probably going to see alts run like crazy because people are taking profit. It's natural. Roll that profit into something, into a cool project that you like, and then, take a gamble on a team that may or may not deliver, or don't care because you're just trying to arbitrage the opportunity on the trade, right? Don't really care about the project, just care about the chart, want to trade it. Just, as things get more and more volatile, just be careful, and that's all. That is my advice, not financial advice, but just life advice for you. Again, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a licensed or bonded broker. So, this is all just my personal thoughts on looking at charts. And let's go ahead and actually read the chat. We're going to throw on the music here so that it covers for Landy's nicotine addiction, and also so that I don't have just silence in the background here. We're going to turn on Heavy Skies in the background. And all right, let's see here. Come on, Heavy Skies. Are you actually going to play? All right, is that too loud? Is it competing with my voice? You let me know in the chats there. And let me read through the chats. Seems like we've got some new people chatting today. That's awesome. Let me say hi to all the folks over here. Don, nice to see you, sir. Bobby, always great to see you as well. Baba is here as well. Love to see that. Who else do we got here? We've got Landy. Oh, it's me. Let's see. We've got Sam. How you doing, Sam? Yes, Bitcoin, new all-time high there at 70K. Love it. Johan, I love it. You're here. My friend, I love seeing you here. Roka, of course, love having you around. And in the chats here as well. Mixing it up with just one good joke for me here prior to the stream getting going. Yeah, Bobby, yeah, the LCC, you know me. That's part of why I did the Landy's Crypto Corner. It was a play on look, I have a ton of respect. I don't always agree with his analysis, but I have the utmost respect for Eric Crown over at Crown's Crypto Cave. I think he is absolutely a truly amazing human being. From some of the alpha that he's put out over the years, never expect somebody to be 100% correct on things, but he's one of the best in the biz. He's a real trader, and he actually comes from the traditional market side of things, so he understands how liquidity works. He understands trading at its base level. So there's a few others as well, right? There's guys like even though I vehemently disagree with Jason Pizzino and even Michael at some points. The Pizzino brothers are great. You got Credible Crypto. I think he's wonderful, and very, very accurate with his calls as well. He doesn't have a YouTube, but he's on Twitter. MDX Crypto, awesome dude. You should be following him at the minimum. I love watching him tear apart Gareth. He was the first prominent guy to really start calling people out, and that was amazing. I love it. I don't really have a following anymore since nuking some of the bigger accounts that I had back in 2020. Into 2021 is really when the accounts got nuked. But anyway, we're talking social accounts. But yeah, those are never coming back. No. Thanks for asking. No, I'm not bringing those back. Nope. There's no reason to. I like my little corner. Yeah, there's a few other guys. Rickus is good. There's a few others. XDev, yeah, I see that one. Yep. Yeah, there's great analysis on the various social media platforms. What you're really looking for, though, is somebody who's actually doing it. They actually doing it. It's pretty easy if you understand how to trade to pick out who the hell's bullshitting and who's not. If you don't know how to trade, though, that's the problem. That's where a lot of these people gain their followers. Is people who don't really understand how to trade, that are looking to somebody who does, or has the appearance that they do, and then kind of going that route. So we got Sam, we got Roka, we've got Why Crypto because it's amazing, and you can make lots of gains or you can lose everything. I check Gary. Like I said, I do apologize, Solana and all that stuff. I will start to look. He's saying that Gary is backed by Solana Galaxy. Good points on the fundamentals. I do enjoy that, so please keep it coming. I'm not going to look into alts today, but I will definitely get to that if you remind me on Monday's live stream. So just remind me or hit me up on X, formerly Twitter. Like, hey, just a reminder, when you see the live stream thing go up, like, hey, I want to see if you can look at this for me. Absolutely, I have no problem doing that. I see Bobby. What the hell? It's a soul meme coin, right? Yep. Yeah, so awesome. Earlier, so keep holding from the last bull run. Nice. Just remind me why crypto. I will definitely go and jump in the charts for you. I just need to be in a better headspace. Bitcoin's built into my brain, so I can easily do that even while sick. Baba says thank you. Yeah, thank you, bud. I appreciate you hanging out. So for those of you that are new here, whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or X.com, I do suggest that you head on over to the Landy's Crypto Corner Discord server. Make yourself known. Tell me who you are on the other social media platforms, because if you have interacted with me on YouTube and then you jump into the Discord and I have no clue who you are, I may not, I'm not going to be responding to a lot of stuff, but I'm just going to build the Discord out little by little, add features that you guys request, stuff like that. And we're going to kind of go from there and just get a little community together so we can chat, hang out when not on stream, share charts if you like, talk crap, just keep it cool. Don't be talking crap unless you're just joking. First rule is don't be a dick unless you're joking around. Second rule is read the first rule. I might have to update those rules though as things go on. But yeah, for right now, we're tiny, just a little community of friends. So if you do head in there, you will be welcomed with open arms, as long as you're not coming in there just to insult people. And as I said earlier, you do have to verify with the bot there. the bot has a drop down. So you might be like, oh man, it's asking me for this thing and it's not on the list of things. You have to scroll the list and then you can select the things that it's asking for. And then it will assign you the role of pleb. And then we'll have more roles and we'll do some fun stuff there. I do have some plans for that. I do need moderation there. I have some moderators, but I need a pleb moderator. I have some volunteers for that I know. This is not out to just brand new people jumping into the server. So for those of you that have asked in the past and you've been around a little bit, but not in the Discord and you want to moderate, you can come in there. Oh no, we have to act normal, says Bobby. Bobby, none of us, anybody in this deep into markets is not normal. So I'm not expecting miracles here. I'm expecting at least if you're going to insult somebody, it is purely a joke. You know, and we will have fun, but keep it cool. We're all just in this to make some bitcoins and make some dollary dues so that we can buy more bitcoins. So yes, the memes will live. I just love this picture, man. This is amazing. What amazing work. Her art is expensive, just so you know, but this is purely an art buy for me. Yeah, love it. Yeah, to go back to your alt chain, that's what did it for me. Of course, the buy BTC free Ross stuff. But yeah, very, very cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, if you got, it's on Bitcoin, so I do suggest that you head over to the YouTube chat. I can easily watch that one. Right now, I'm not even looking at the chart. I have all the chats up right now, but I have to manually do it. Whereas if I'm actually looking at the chart, I can really only see the YouTube chat. Yeah, that was a guilty buy, Bobby. I'm just straight up, like I said earlier, that's just straight up for me. That's not gonna ever go up to auction. I mean, unless somebody wants to give me multiple Bitcoin for it, good luck. You ain't getting it. That's me. That's mine. And as you know, for those of you that have been around a while, that piece is called Fuck the Fed. And that's very, look who's suddenly into art on Bitcoin. Hey, I own art on Ethereum too. Come on. I'm not just a Bitcoin maxi. Come on. I took profits to bullshit on ETH and Solana. I mean, I got stuff on Solana. You know what it is. Of course, now it's all on Bitcoin now. So they're trying to tempt me into running on the mother chain and buying it there and defying my own freaking mining pool. My own mining pool. I'm defying my filter crew brothers and sisters. Yes, I have miners joined to Ocean Pool. Which, by the way, hates this shit, man. Excuse my language. They hate it. 30-second chart? Sure. Man, you really want degen today, huh? I don't know your name. I missed your name there, but I saw the 30-second chart, please. That chat just disappears really quick. That's one of the reasons why I prefer the people hang out on YouTube. Because I can actually scroll the chat easily. Because there's not like a back-end API to X right now. The messages disappear because I'm not looking at it through a control panel or through my streaming software. I can't really see it, but I'm happy to give you a 30-second chart look. Do you feel like there's something happening? Oh my God, momentum reset. It's gonna moon, guys. Double bottom on the 30-second. As long as it takes out 68,600, it's moon time. Yeah, this is probably just gonna consolidate for a little bit. We'll see. Now here's so I actually did get a really interesting question. Now this was from one of the servers that does ordinal stuff. Somebody actually asked me. They saw me posting some stuff about ordinals and particular projects, and they said, "Hey, I know you've been on you do streams on X and YouTube and stuff, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean X has only just been very recent, but YouTube for a while." They were like, "Are you the same person?" And they asked me, they were like, "Hey, I've watched your streams before, and you were mentioning stuff about mining and kind of the controversy about it. And what happens if they do change Bitcoin Core, if they update Bitcoin Core to exclude the non-arbitrary data stuff, and to exclude what TAP has introduced with inscriptions, right? Because they do view it as, even the core devs, which are, allowing it for right now, still view it as spam. And because what it does is all that data gets inscribed to the blockchain forever, and it's got to be stored on all of these nodes' hard drives, and it really does begin to stress some of the smaller nodes, less powerful nodes. You're just going to need more and more storage, which costs more money. It slows down the network, all that stuff. It drives up fees, right? They're right. They are right. But it's possible with Bitcoin Core. So unless they change it, it's going to continue to be possible, right? But the question was, could they change Bitcoin Core to disallow this? What happens to all my ordinals? Nothing. It's already inscribed on the blockchain. You know what happens? It's way more valuable. Way more valuable. Because they're not going to take TAP addresses, TAP wallets away. Taproot compatible wallets wouldn't go away. What they would be doing is disallowing or filtering for inscriptions, meaning that new inscriptions would not be coming onto the chain anymore. I mean, there's always, what a lot of people need to understand is there's always going to be somebody poking at it to find a way to do that again anyway, and find advancements of what's already there with inscriptions, building protocols on top of it to lighten it, to make it more lightweight as well. That's some of the cool stuff that's actually happening that I think is actually exciting about the ordinal side of things. Is people understand that if they really do piss off enough miners, they are going to be cut out, and the gravy train is going to stop rolling in that regard. So they are trying to make things way more lightweight, way less stressful on smaller nodes and less powerful nodes. So really what happens though is everything that's being inscribed right now and has been inscribed since 2023 is not going to be gone. It's going to be permanent and become more and more rare, right? Like, there's not going to be any new inscriptions if that were the case. If Filter Crew really does push core to start, taking this stuff out. That is true. It is very, very possible. But that just means that stuff, is going to change in the future. For everything that's out there now, it just becomes that much more rare, in my opinion. Does that rarity make it valuable? That's subjective, right? It's all value. It's all value in the beholder's eyes right now. I mean, do you really own it or do you not, right? Do you own history on the blockchain? That's really where this is where the arguments really get esoteric. And as somebody that runs miners that allow, nodes that allow ordinals and processing of ordinal transactions and inscriptions, and have miners that are joined to filter pools that filter that out as well, or disallow or don't process those transactions. I'm of the opinion that it's a free market, and if it's allowed, you should be able to do it until it's not, right? And if it's going to be allowed by consensus, then fine, we're going to do it until it's not allowed by consensus. And that's network consensus. That is, the majority of the nodes are going to allow it. That's what they're doing right now. And if the majority of nodes don't allow it, then that's what we're doing. What does that mean for that fancy picture that I just bought or anything else? Nothing. It just means that in more cases than not, if it's not allowed anymore via filters through core, you're probably going to see other nodes start to run different versions of core or implementations of core. You will probably have a bit of a fractured network, and you might even see a fork off of an ordinal chain all by itself, like BTC ordinals or something. But Bitcoin itself is not going away ever. It's here to stay forever. The debate is like, do we fork this off and let it run? because you will have big miners that would still run it. They would just fork off to this fork, and it would probably be all gravy for a little while, and then it'll die as Bitcoin just keeps going, doing what it does. But everything that happened, even if it did fork or post-fork, you got to understand everything that happened on Bitcoin's mother chain is never going to go away. Even during a fork, you're still just taking the history is still there. It doesn't matter. If it's on the original chain, all the shit on the original chain before a fork is still on the original chain of Bitcoin, because any fork is coming after. So that would be a new chain, right? So all the stuff that's being inscribed now, all the crazy stuff that's going on in the ordinal space, in the DMT space, all that stuff, it's there forever, no matter what. Even if a fork happens, it's not going away. So understand that. And I think once a lot of altcoiners understand this, they're going to run, because they're probably going to, there's a real possibility that there just could be a Bitcoin ordinals fork. So if you don't get in before that, you're not going to be on Bitcoin. You're going to be on something else. And that is, I'm excited. The free market is dictating a lot of this. People are going to go and gamble on this stuff. You're either going to find value in it because you want to make money and do flips, or you're going to find value in it because you really do want to own that piece of art. And getting good art, by the way, is expensive. Hiring artists is expensive. So if you find something reasonable that somebody has put together, yeah, you're paying whatever I paid for that, fuck the Fed piece is nothing, right? I'm actually getting that put on a print. I'm gonna hang it on my wall, right? Like it's not it. If I commissioned an artist to draw that, I'd probably actually pay more. Let's put it that way. So, what the real black hole is. So Roka's in the chat, and he's mentioning a few things that I agree with, and some that I have thoughts on. Not that I necessarily disagree, but I have some thoughts on that really aren't going to be for this stream, but maybe another. But one of the big things that I'm going to tell you is the real black hole of liquidity right now is going to be those ETFs, and they are just going to keep sucking up all of the liquidity, and then we're coming into the halving, and it really will look really long term once the monthly closes later this month. But I'm telling you, man, my conservative price targets of 100 to 130 are conservative for a reason. Above 130, I think it's very easy for Bitcoin to hit 150. More aggressive targets are $250,000 and $350,000. And I don't rule out any of it, the more shallow targets or the more aggressive targets. We will take it one step at a time. I don't think people are actually prepared for the fact that ETFs are going to accelerate in terms of portfolio adoption. They're only just beginning their portfolio adoption coming into this halving. And over the next 4 years, coming into the next halving after that, their portfolio allocations are only going to ever increase, not decrease, ever increase. Yes, you'll get portfolio management rolling in and out to new things and assets and so on and so forth for balance in certain portfolios, especially for portfolios that actually have in their contract for that particular portfolio management company actual metrics that they have to balance for. In terms of splits in the portfolio. But if you think that portfolio allocation is even at 1% right now, you're bonkers. It's not even close to 1% for these guys yet. Their initial allocation for many of these fund managers and portfolio managers at these companies with all these assets under management, that rolls down to people that aren't even associated with their companies. So it rolls down to brokers that are affiliated, and they haven't even begun to get to 1% yet for Bitcoin ETFs, and that's what they want, 1 to 3%. So things could get way crazier, I think, than people even understand. I think that this is price action agnostic in this statement. So understand that price could go up or down, right? But I don't think that people are actually prepared for even the most bullish people on crypto Twitter, crypto YouTube, and traditional finance guys are morons. I know, I've worked with them, and I still work with some of them. Yes, I know you're in this stream somewhere. But my point to you is most of them are absolute freaking morons. Like they follow the RM plan, and the RM plan is king. No risk whatsoever in that regard. And when there is risk, it's oops, your portfolio went down, or all of our AUM went down by X% because whatever, it takes us forever to actually move. And we hang on to opinions for far too long. But I don't think that anyone is actually prepared for the supply squeeze in Bitcoin over the coming years. I don't think anybody is. I think that not even myself, I don't think I am. So, you know, it's going to be, I think that we're all going to experience some disbelief on the upside and downside. Hi, Jedi. You're late? You're always late. How are you late to a stream that I actually started late? I love you, buddy. It's good to see you here as well. But yeah, but yes, I agree with what Roka's talking about with the old S coins there. Bobby, they broke another. Yeah, they did. You're talking about ETFs, I'm assuming. Yep. And I'm actually going to wrap up the stream now. So, Jedi, you join. Am I late? Nah, probably not. Well, you're going to have to roll it back to the beginning. We've just been hanging out, chatting for a little bit here. So as soon as you enter, everybody leaves. But no offense. As Roka has mentioned, he wants you to join him and play some Helldivers 2. Not Helldivers 1. I haven't bought Helldivers 2, by the way. Maybe I will, but yeah, I might actually get in on that, but you guys are probably going to be so far ahead of me in terms of like levels and whatnot. I know, Jedi. Hey, we love you. We're not leaving because of you. Just know that. Just because you entered the chat, it's not why I'm ending the stream. But you are late to a stream that I started very late. But yeah. All right. I'm going to let y'all go. For those of you that are new, go ahead and join the Discord. Follow me on Twitter. Please like this video. Please like my videos and tweets if you want to see me grow and the community grow. That does help. Just commenting to me underneath the tweet or in a video doesn't really do much for engagement. It looks like I'm getting ratioed. But if you want to see the community grow, you want to get new people in, hang out, have a good time, it's all free shit. It's free education, free resources, free thoughts from me. We're just going to enjoy this freaking ball run. We're going to enjoy it and have fun and meme and all that good stuff. And there's going to be some serious talks around some of this stuff as things really get rolling. So feel free to follow me at CryptoLandia on Twitter. Head into the Discord, link in the video description down below. And of course, subscribe here. If you're in the chat, you're already subscribed. So and like the videos and all that good stuff. And I will talk to you again on Monday. You all have a wonderful weekend. Please, please, of course, as always, stay safe. You know, we want you to stay safe first and foremost, and then you know, from there, trade safe. And with all of that being said, I am going to set up the stream for a bit of tunes. If you want to stay and hang out and listen to tunes, I know some of you like to do that and then mark up your charts. We'll set this for about 12 and a half minutes from now. And yeah, with all of that being said, we'll leave the 30-second DGen chart up. But you have a great weekend, great morning, afternoon, and evening. No matter where you are in the world, please trade safe. And of course, as always, stay safe. With all of that being said, Landy out.
Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
CBR Street Gang, this is all my